Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all the sun's command. With growing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Lords and ladies, you may be seated. Oh, yay! Oh, yay! Oh, yay! My lords, my ladies, any ordinary townsfolk, all ye in attendance gather round. As an official town crier and member in good standing in the Ontario Guild of Town Criers, I have an announcement of great importance. I read. We are fortunate indeed to live in a country where our governments are not only responsive to the people, but are trusted and open without force or coercion. My lords, my ladies, come, celebrate, rejoice, for tonight we signify the continuation of democracy with the inaugural meeting of the new council session of the town of Newmarket. This cry, cried aloud this first day of December in the year of our Lord, 2014, God save our gracious Queen, and let the new council begin.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Brower, and I'm the Director of Legislative Services and Town Clerk for the Town of Newmarket. I'd like to welcome you to this evening's inaugural council meeting. It gives me great pleasure to both congratulate and introduce the Council of the Town of Newmarket for the 2014 to 2018 term. To my left, Mayor Tony Van Bynen. To my right, Regional Councillor John Taylor. On my far right, Councillor Tom Bay, Ward 1. Councillor Dave Kerwin, Ward 2. Councillor Jane Twinney, Ward 3. Councillor Tom Hempen, Ward 4. Councillor Joe Sponga, Ward 5. Councillor Kelly Broom Plumley, Ward 6. And Councillor Christina Byzance, Ward 7. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of the Town of Newmarket. I will now invite Pastor Gary James of the Valley View Alliance Church to lead us in prayer.
Here's hoping. Would it be appropriate if I invite all present to stand as we pray? Shall we pray? O Lord, you are the creator and the sustainer of all that has breath. You are the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and you know our thoughts before we do. And we bow humbly in your presence as we ask you
to bless these our civil servants. Lord, in this official prayer of invocation we ask for, and we invite your presence by your Spirit here in this place and in our town. The scriptures teach us that you guide the hearts and the minds of the kings and rulers and all who lead. And as such, we pray, O God, for these who have been elected by the people to serve our community by giving leadership to our town. Lord, as their work is complex, we ask that you would give them wisdom beyond their years and their experience, to reason wisely and make strategic decisions which are best for our town. Lord, as they are each independent and strong thinkers, we ask that you would give them an unusual capacity to represent their individual wards and also to work together as a team of leaders with mutual respect, courtesy, and understanding for one another and for the residents and the business owners of our town. And Lord, as their work on behalf of our citizens will often infringe upon their personal time, we pray for their families who sacrifice time with them so that they can serve our community well. Would you bless their families and protect them, returning to them your favor and your blessing for their sacrifice on behalf of we, the people. The scriptures declare that you instruct us to administer true justice, to show mercy and compassion to one another. Lord, let our town, under the leadership of these your servants, increasingly be known as a place where justice and mercy and compassion to one another define our lives together. And we pray these things in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor James. I would now ask the Honorable Mr. Justice Peter Bork of the Ontario Court of Justice to proceed to the podium to administer the declarations of office.
Invited guests here this evening, senior members of the staff of the town of Newmarket, family and friends of the newly elected councillors and mayor, and indeed councillors and elected mayor, congratulations on your election to your new office. It is my privilege, and indeed it is my pleasure, to administer the declarations of office to the members of this, the Newmarket Town Council, for the 2014 to 2018 term of office. I will now ask the council to rise, and we're going to do this all together. It's a little like a Mooney wedding. All will stand, and we're going to do the oath together. You'll find the oath in front of you, so hopefully there'll be no difficulty. You will repeat after me. We, having been elected to office in the municipality of the town of Newmarket.
We, having been elected to the municipality of the town of Newmarket.
We're going to get them to do a little better as we go along.
This is not what's in front of us, right?
Do solemnly promise and declare that.
Do solemnly promise and declare that.
Now that's much better. We will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office.
We will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the
best of our knowledge and ability.
The best of our knowledge and ability.
We have not received and will not receive any payment or reward.
We have not received and will not receive any payment or reward.
Or promise thereof for the exercise of this office.
Or promise thereof for the exercise of this office.
In a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner.
In a biased, corrupt, or any other improper manner.
We will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect.
We will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect.
In accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
In accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
We will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
We will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
To Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
To Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
And we make this solemn promise and declaration.
And we make this solemn promise and declaration.
Conscientiously believing it to be true.
Conscientiously believing it to be true.
And knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Your worship, Mr. Mayor, councilors, congratulations on your election to office. My understanding that each of you will now sit, sign the declaration, and I will come back by each one and swear the declaration. As I say to people, when you sign something like this, it's the same signature you use when you sign a check. You've done this a few times before, Your Worship. Congratulations. Round of applause for our new council.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this point, I have the privilege of presenting Mayor Van Bynen with the chain of office. Before I do so, I would like to provide some background on its significance. For many centuries, civic authorities have worn an official seal incorporating the arms of authority. It was originally worn on a gold chain around the neck of a chief official, and through the years, it has evolved into the modern-day chain of office. Although symbolic, the practice of wearing a chain of office is steeped in tradition. The chain of office, currently worn by the mayor of the town of Newmarket, portrays many historic symbols tied to the town, each of which being joined together with pieces of chain and smaller gold plates on which the names of the mayors from 1881 have been inscribed. The chain of office is an outward symbol of authority, and to the wearer, a reminder of the responsibilities of holding such office. Your Worship, I will now ask you to join me in the center of the council dais to present the chain of office. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Good evening to our guests and staff and to council. Welcome to the inaugural meeting of the Newmarket 2014-2018 Council. To begin, I would like to acknowledge and express my appreciation to the Royal Canadian Legion, Milton Wesley Branch 426, for providing the color guard. Also to John Webster, our town crier, and Randy Egan, our piper, and also Justice Peter Burke, as well as Pastor Gary James from Valley View Alliance Church, and Terry Russell, our RCMP constable, as well as Sydney Stevenson, our singer, and of course the Pickering College Choir. A very special thank you to each of you. This is a very special moment for all of us, and your contributions add a rich flavor of tradition to make this important ceremony memorable. So thank you for that. I would also like to recognize and thank Andrew Brower, our town clerk, and Pat Noble, my executive assistant, and all the town staff who were involved in the coordination of tonight's activities. And as well, I'd also like to welcome some of our special guests. Our MP, Lois Brown, our MPP, Chris Ballard, Mayor Jeff Daw from the town of Aurora, and our former Mayor, Tom Taylor. I would like to invite some comments from members of council, and I'd like to begin with our Regional Councillor Taylor. John?
Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. I think more and more each election, each of us finds ourselves being asked, why in heaven's name are you putting yourself through this? Why are you doing this? And I think it's really, it's something you need to reflect on regularly and remind yourself and ask yourself, why are you doing this? Why do you want to be in the role of a member of council? And I think it's straightforward. We're here to try to improve the community, to try to make this an amazing community and try to improve the lives of the people who live here. And to look back on this past term of council, I'm proud of what we've done, and it feels great to be a part of a community because the council does some of this, but we do it with the community. And to see the Riverwalk Commons, a new incredible meeting space and family place that's just so full of life and joy, to have worked on a project in Newmarket Heights, a community that is sometimes challenged, and to see a beautiful, amazing new park built through community effort and business collaboration for everyone to enjoy. And to see a project that we embarked on at the region and the Human Services Planning Board, Regional Council, Town Council here all together working to tackle the huge issue of the lack of affordable and safe rental housing options, and to see us move through some policy and a pilot project, and to see now moving forward on Davis Drive, a 225-unit rental building that's going to bring so many options to so many families in our communities. And 25% of those units will be subsidized or will be rent supplement through the region. Those are the reasons we're here. Those are the things that make me excited every day to do this job. And when it's challenging, you think of those times when you've achieved something, really, I think, worthy of being here and worthy of spending the time. So we do that through the support of others. So looking forward to the next term of council, it's just as exciting. We've got some great things on our horizon, new trails in the Northwest Quadrant. We're going to build and plan for job growth through the Gigabit Corridor and through South Lake Hospital. And we're going to continue to move forward on recreational assets like an outdoor hockey rink is one of my hopes. So we do that as a group, as a team. We collaborate on so many of those projects I've mentioned there together, and we work with the community. And the community now is a regular partner on every project. They're engaged fully. So for me, it's a very exciting time. I could only have had the opportunity to do some of those things and to move forward on some of the exciting opportunities next term through the supporters I've had, the people who voted for me in town, but obviously campaign workers that are here today. And I thank each of you very, very much. My friends who have done so much to support me this election and past elections, it means a lot to me. To my family, my sister and her husband, and to my mother and my father, who has been a mentor to me, thank you. And to my amazing wife, Michelle, and to my son, Ethan, and my daughter, Addison, they inspire me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll start with comments from our newest members of council. We'll go from left to right, if we. Councillor Bazance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud and delighted to be here this evening, but it's certainly a journey that only began because of the support of so many people, and I want to start by thanking a few of them. Certainly, my husband, Paul, and my son Tyson, along with my friends and family, for their encouragement and support for me taking on this role. I thank you. I want to also thank former Councillor Chris Emanuel, who served so well as our Ward 7 councillor for the past 11 years. I'd particularly like to thank the residents of Ward 7 who welcomed me at their door and in several cases into their homes to discuss their issues, visions, and aspirations for this wonderful town that we live in. For the most part, the residents I spoke to love living in Newmarket. While we know growth is inevitable, there are valid concerns about some of the changes that are taking place. Residents wonder where we're headed as we move toward greater intensification in our neighborhoods, what it'll mean to them and their quality of life. We need to ensure that our infrastructure can sustain the pressure of this growth and the impact on our resources. We need to be responsible stewards of what little green space we have left in our community. Both during and after the election, I continue to hear residents' concerns about traffic congestion and safety on their neighborhood streets. I was glad to see in the era that the majority of us around this table identified road safety and traffic as priorities for this term as well. We must get on with putting solutions in place. As a resident, I often thought I knew the right answers to our challenges. I now realize one of my key responsibilities is to be sure that I'm also asking the right questions, working with my council colleagues and our excellent town staff to address not just what is the matter for residents, but also what matters to them. Residents don't just want to be heard, they want to know that their input is taken seriously and valued. That's one of the reasons that I've already begun to initiate a Ward 7 advisory group to provide me with input on what matters to our community and to serve as my sounding board on issues we face together. We have much to accomplish in the next 4 years and a very ambitious agenda with tough decisions and choices to be made. I'm mindful that, to paraphrase Bill Gates, people always overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 5. To that end, we need to make sensible but essential economic investment decisions to attract new employers with sustainable long-term jobs that will provide opportunities for our residents to be able to live, work, and prosper in our town. Our success will be measured by the legacy of what we leave to our future as a community, and I appreciate that we need to be a council that is forward-looking in its choices, with decision-making based on a strong foundation of accountability, respect for one another, and collaboration. In conclusion, I am so thankful for this opportunity to have an active role in making Newmarket, this place above the ordinary, even more extraordinary. As a new councillor and member of this chamber, I recognize I have a lot to learn, and quickly. Tonight and for the next 4 years, I pledge to embrace the teaching of the inspirational Maya Angelou, who said, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better." Thank you.
Councillor Broom-Pomley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm here tonight feeling very proud and humbled, knowing it is because all of you and many others. I thank you. I'm here tonight because of my husband, my family, and my friends. I thank you for all your love and your support. I'm also here tonight because we have so many incredible accomplishments in our great community and so much more to do. There are many things that set our community apart from others. From the South Lake Regional Health Center, which is one of the largest employers to the region, to this farmers market in Riverwalk Commons that pulls residents from their homes and helps turn them into friends. From the expansive walking trail system that ties our town together, to the commercial corridor led by Upper Canada Mall, drawing people from outside communities to ours. From our many parks and recreation facilities that see our children and families grow, to historical Main Street that offers a reminder of who we truly are as a town. people working together with common goals in mind, achieve the incredible accomplishments in our community that set us apart. Together, residents formed a discussion. Together, residents set common goals. And together, residents achieved. There are some who question the next stage and scale of our community's ambition, which suggests we cannot handle large projects. Their memories may be short, for they have forgotten to pause and reflect on what we have already accomplished. Partnership between government and the people is not a matter of choice, but a matter of absolute need. This is the foundation I plan to bring to an already thriving town, but more importantly, to the office of Ward 6 Councillor. I believe this community adopts the character of its people. Over the past year, I've met thousands of residents doing their part and expressing their ideas, however needing a voice. Together we will again form a discussion. Together we will again set common goals. And together we will again achieve. Let's make the next 4 years about positive communication and positive results. I look forward to helping deliver those positive results. I know it's within our reach. Thank you.
Councillor Sponga.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to say ditto to whatever Christina and Kelly said. I don't know if it's possible to be humbled and thrilled at the same time, but that's how I feel tonight in front of you. Humble at the fact that I'm reminded of the great responsibility that the citizens of Newmarket have bestowed on me again tonight, and thrilled to represent you for the next 4 years, and to set a path with this team, with this council, that will make Newmarket even better for us, for our seniors, and for our children for many, many decades to come. I'm going to take this opportunity to thank Kathy, my wife. Kathy, thank you for holding down the fort in the last 4 years, for being my most honest critic and very brutal at times, a great campaign manager, but most of all, a wonderful wife. Thank you. I love you. To my 2 children, Allie, who's always given me the confidence that sometimes I lack to move forward and keep fighting. And to my great son, Jacob, who's here with me today, for understanding when I cannot be at home with you or take you to hockey or sometimes soccer. Although now I'm going to be your coach, so I'll be there. And it was a pleasure to actually have Jacob this year work on my campaign team and be part of delivering flyers. You did a great job. See, I got reelected. Thank you to all the volunteers that helped, and my 2 great friends that always gave me great advice, great support, Brian and Jackie, and I'm glad to see both of you here today. In conclusion, I make the pledge to this council to work with this wonderful team, to be a team member, and 4 years from now to celebrate the fact that we've made this town even better. Thank you.
Councillor Hempel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, the last 4 years have gone by very quickly. It seems like yesterday that I was here and we had our first inaugural, or my first inaugural. First of all, I would like to thank the residents of Ward 4. Thank you for voting for me and supporting me and showing me your confidence. I appreciate it very much. I'd also like to recognize some of my friends in the audience. Rick Metcalf, my campaign manager, Carrie Carson, and all the volunteers who helped. Without you, it wouldn't have been possible, and I thank you so much. Most importantly of all, I want to thank my wife, Kirsten. I'm going to become emotional. Kirsten, it wouldn't be possible for me to be a ward councillor if it wasn't for you. You are an incredible, strong business partner, and I couldn't do it without you. And you are the most wonderful life partner anyone could have, and I love you very much, and I thank you for that. I want to talk now a little bit about the accomplishments that we've done in Ward 4 and the things we'd like to see happen in Ward 4. Over 4 years ago, I ran on a mandate of making a difference in Ward 4 and bringing some things to Ward 4. One of my proudest moments is we were able to, Maple Leaf School playground sits in the center of the community of Newmarket Heights in my ward. And that playground hadn't been redeveloped or hadn't seen any kind of investment for many years. And they needed some help, and that park needed to be looked after, and $400,000 needed to be raised. And with Regional Councillor John Taylor, we were able to raise $400,000 through family, through friends, and we created this incredible new park. And there's a new soccer field, there's a basketball court, there's a running track, there's an outdoor classroom, there's lots of activity areas there. And I am so proud that I was able to be part of that with you, John, and we accomplished this great thing, and it's made such a difference to the community. And I hear it all the time. When I was knocking on doors, people were saying, thank you so much, and look what you've created. Can I get a sign on my lawn? It was a nice moment. And I really appreciate that. And no tax dollars were used in doing this project. The next thing, when I talked about bringing something to and having a splash pad and having the first splash pad, the first community splash pad brought to Ward 4, and I brought that to this council, and this spring the splash pad opened, and it's a wonderful new space, and the kids enjoy it, and families enjoy it in the neighborhood and all over the town. They're coming to use this new space. So I want to thank my council colleagues here for helping get that done. Without you, it wouldn't have been possible. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. In the next 4 years, I would like to see some positive changes as well. I'd like to see that we go out and go to the friends and neighbors and people we know in the community, and I'd like to build a community garden. And I'd like that community garden to have 50 plots and to provide food for 50 families, fresh produce for 50 families. And I'd like to work behind Canadian Martyrs School. Their schoolyard and playground area needs some help, and I'd like to raise that money again without taxpayers. So I'm going to be coming out to my friends and hand in hats. So when you come and see when you see me coming, please don't run away. I'm going to need your help again. So those are some of the things I'd like to see happen in the ward. Now, I know I've talked a lot about being a ward councillor, but I'm also a councillor that represents the town. And I feel as I'm a councillor who represents the town fully and completely. And I, as all other members of this council, have one equal vote. And my commitment to the residents of the town is that I will be very conscious and selective and careful on how I vote on things coming forward to this council. And I look forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Twinney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, family, friends, and good evening to my colleagues and staff here tonight. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge my parents that are here tonight, Barbara and Norman, my husband Joe, and my son Michael that are here supporting me tonight. They have always believed in me and have always been there supporting me along the way. I wouldn't be here tonight without you. Being an elected official is really a team effort. From the support of the residents who believe you are the best person to represent them, to the staff that help ensure that issues are dealt with and support your initiatives. 4 years ago tonight, I sat here as a newly elected councillor for the town of Newmarket. It was an unbelievably exciting time for me and my family. There was so much I wanted to bring to the table, and over the past 4 years, I am pleased with my accomplishments. In 2010, I promised to deliver a better communication model to the residents of Ward 3, and I did that with ongoing newsletters and regular ward meetings every year. I also promised to work with the residents to help establish a safer intersection at Wayne Huron Heights for our children, which I was pleased to have implemented as well this year with the help of staff. Other projects that I was dedicated to work on was an off-leash dog park for the town of Newmarket, which is being built right now as we speak. Also, the rejuvenation of Glen Cedar Public School playground area is in the works, and with an online survey which will lead us to a public meeting early in 2015. Today, I now have those 4 years under my belt, which makes this term even more exciting for me as a councillor. I now have the expertise on how to maneuver around within our system of policies and procedures that will allow me to be more efficient in moving forward items that I may want to bring forward on the agenda for consideration. That being said, the next 4 years is going to bring even further challenges. During the campaign, I was able to speak to many residents, and there is no doubt that many people find it challenging to make ends meet with the pressures of the ever-increasing cost of living, be it taxes, heat, or hydro. The challenges we face as a town will be to balance the need to increase taxes to deliver the services that the residents want and need. In the next 4 years, we will also face challenges with our fire services as we grow as a community and follow the master fire plan. Also ensuring that we are financially sound when it comes to replacement of our infrastructure in the years to come is a priority. We also want to continue to expand services and facilities to make our town an even better place to live than it already is today. Finding solutions and reevaluating our priorities as a corporation rather than just expecting to increase taxes to pay for everything is something that will be key for all municipalities, not just the town of Newmarket. But I am excited to be part of this team that will face these challenges. I look forward to my continued dialogue with my residents through my regular ward meetings. I am proud of the fact that I've had good open dialogue with my residents and have always made myself available to listen and hopefully come up with solutions for any problems, small or big, that have arisen. So tonight I thank you, the residents of Ward 3, who supported me and have allowed me the opportunity to serve you again in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Councillor Kerwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and fellow councillors. I go back to 1976. 5 decades, and I'm beginning to look like I've been there too. Okay. So truly, I thank all residents because when we ran at large then, and we ran for 2 years. And there are 2 people I'd like to single out from that era. It would be Terry Carter. He was the editor of the era when you used to line up to buy it. He was the editor, but he was intuitive staff writer and reporter. And that year, the era endorsed me. Thank you, Terry. I'd like to thank Tom Taylor. I served with Tom a very long time as a councillor, and when he was my mayor for 9 years. And Tom was also a regional councillor. Tom, you gave me truly inspiration, and you were a gentleman to serve with. Last but not least, I'd like to thank my friends who are here tonight and my family. My son, Mark, and his partner, Sarosh. My eldest son, Mike, and his partner, Sarah Alexander. And my 2 grandsons, Zach and James. I'd like to also thank the godparents to my eldest son, Mel and Aviva Sokolsky, for being here. Thank you. And last but not least, my wife of 47 years. She has campaigned for me through 14 campaigns and worn out 28 pairs of running shoes. Erica, I could never have been where I am today without you. And I salute you and I honor you. And my friends who are in the audience tonight, I thank you for coming and all your support over the many years that we have been friends. So thank you so much. In this term of office, in the future, between now and the end, you have to ask yourself, why you're running. Yes, I could name many achievements that we've accomplished in the past. But there's one thing that's been dear to me for a very, very long period of time, and that is the completion of the Old Town Hall, which is an absolute jewel and will be. It will be the center of the downtown core. I went on a conference once with our CAO, Bob Shelton, and he made me sign a blood oath that I would not retire from council until we had completed basically the downtown core. And we are just about in that process now. With the Riverwalk Commons, that's a huge success. Once that Old Town Hall is completed, the history that is there, that building can be used for so many purposes. It's a multi-purpose building, and it will bring people to the downtown core and will make Newmarket even a better town in which to live. So, Bob, I thank you for making me take that blood oath in Winnipeg, okay? It will be completed. I had some other things on my mind, too, that I want to see completed in this term. And a lot of these things are not necessarily in Ward 2, because I've been a ward councillor, but I've always been a councillor at large. Newmarket is very, very dear to me. A hospice. I sit on this board. We're in the process of building a hospice on Queen Street in Ward 2. Buildings have been demolished, funds are being raised, and it will be a 10-bedroom hospice where people can stay with their loved ones and where people who need palliative care may leave this earth with dignity. There will be balconies, and there will be places for people to sit outside, and there will be washrooms. It will be a first-class hospice, and I salute Southlake for coming up with the building of a hospice within the town of Newmarket. The other issue that I really have is, in my own ward, is the fairgrounds. And that is to give it a better presence within the town of Newmarket. It's a beautiful park. It has everything there where you can play rugby, where you can play football, where you can play baseball, where you can play softball. But it really needs rejuvenation. Just what we did in College Manor. I'm so proud of College Manor, what we've done there this term, and the past term. The other one is the entrance to College Manor East. And what I'm going to do about it, I signed up for the Horticultural Society, so I know we can give a better and more beautiful entrance to that lovely subdivision called College Manor. So I want to work with that. And you have to have a vision of who you can work with. The last one that I really wish to accomplish is the completion of the Dave Kerwin Trail to the Green Lane. And I hope to work with East Gwillimbury Council and the Mayor, Virginia Haxon. I know all the council, and we're only short by a few, maybe 100 meters, but it's an important link that people can walk along the Green Lane, walk south on the Dave Kerwin Trail to Davis Drive. And without the support of my colleagues over the many years, we would not have this green space of almost 200 acres of pristine forest up there. If you haven't walked the trail, please do. It's an absolutely beautiful trail. The Council 2014-2018, it's a truly great council. And I look forward to working with this council in a very harmonious way, a very productive way, to make Newmarket even a better town in which to live. And once again, thank you from the beginning, supporting me in 1976. It's been a fantastic journey. I wouldn't have missed it. And I could not be here without the support of all of you and all the residents and my friends who have come here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Vig.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and also thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I'd also like to express a very special thank you to my family and my guests. First, I'd like to thank my wife, Angela, for all her love and support over the years. I wouldn't be here without you. And I'd like to thank and acknowledge my children. My daughter, Bianca, is here with us tonight, and my son, Alex, is missing his first inauguration. He's at the University of Waterloo in his first year. And part of the role of town councillor is representing your constituents and the town at events and professional gatherings. And, you know, the family does pay a bit of a price for that. And I've missed more family dinners that I really want to count. So I really want to thank my kids, my children, for their support and understanding. I'd also like to acknowledge I have some friends here tonight who are gracious enough to join me and Angela. Just like to acknowledge them. Lori and Pat, thank you very much for coming. Chaba, Carolyn, Cynthia, Andre, Maria, Angela, and a very special thank you to my mom, Helen Vague, for being able to be here with us tonight also. But most of all, I'd like to thank the residents of Ward 1, and I'd like to thank them for once again putting their trust and confidence in me to represent their interests on Newmarket Town Council. I take that responsibility very seriously, and I do thank all residents of Ward 1 for that opportunity. Last term, our council agenda was really dominated by large, high-profile projects, such as the complete rebuilding of Davis Drive, our Glenway redevelopment application, and the subsequent Ontario Municipal Board hearings, the creation of our secondary plan to manage the provincially mandated growth targets, the completion of Riverwalk Commons, the beginning of the refurbishing of the old town hall, and that's just to name a few. But even with that, my colleagues on council have mentioned the local projects they're working on too, the ones that really don't make it into the newspaper and really only affect the people that live near them, but have a huge impact on their quality of life. For example, in Ward 1, we had some of the community improvements that we had in the last term was the upgrade of five neighborhood parks and trail improvements, which are continuing. I think this term we're going to see a return to those type of smaller community-based projects. Many of my colleagues have mentioned some already, such as continued park improvements, at least one, if not two more community splash pads. I'd like to have one of them in Ward 1. I've been working hard on that. Improved aesthetics to our community entrances. This is something that we've all been struggling with for a while, and I think it's about time that happens. Continued expansion of our trail system. And it's already been mentioned, speeding in our residential neighborhoods is the #1 complaint received by York Region Police, the town, and is being identified by all Ward 1 councillors as a priority. The strategies we've employed in the past provided temporary relief, but usually not a permanent solution. This is something that's frustrated me, members of council, and certainly our residents in our neighborhood. It's a very important safety issue, and it's something quite visible to everyone. So I think this term we're going to see a move to a more aggressive approach to curb this problem, because again, it is important for our quality of life, and what we've been doing in the past, we haven't been as successful as we'd like to be. In all cases, in everything that I've mentioned, I'm looking forward to the active involvement of the members of the Ward 1 community, because we always get the best results when the community members roll up their sleeves and join staff and join me, their elected representative, in creating community-based solutions. The solutions we create to our problems are the ones that we need to live with, so people have to be involved in that and be part of that process. Finally, as I look around this council table, I see a group of dedicated, passionate Newmarket residents who, and to the very last one, has a track record of professionalism and demonstrated good judgment. I'm looking forward to working with all of you and along with our staff to ensure that Newmarket continues to be one of the best places in Canada to live, work, and raise our families. Thank you very much. Looking forward to working with everyone. And thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Thank you. Well, I'd also like to thank the residents that supported us and gave me an opportunity to return to this chamber as your mayor. It's also a pleasure for me to introduce some very special guests who are with us tonight. These people have been the source of my support over my entire political career, and some even longer than that. More importantly, I'm very proud to call them my friends. And I'll start with Terry and Louise Carter, who are here, David McLennan, Jackie Plater, also Graham and Linda Bonsteel, and Ron and Pat Eldridge. This crew kept me alert, kept my feet to the fire, and they kept me out on the streets whenever there was sunlight and there was a door to be knocked on. I sincerely appreciate everything that you've done. We're also joined by some very special people tonight, and I'll start with my wife, Roxanne. Wave, Roxanne. My daughter, Christine, and her husband, Tim Glenn. My daughter, Shelley, and her husband, Jeff Nye. And my grandchildren, Luke, Noah, Holly, Angelica, and Tice. And without their support, I simply would not be here tonight. My family is my inspiration, and I'm delighted that they could be here to join us. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I'd also like to invite some comments from our CAO. Mr. Shelton, your thoughts and introduction of our senior staff, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess the first thing that I should confirm is that there will be no blood oaths. I don't think we need that. Everyone's taken their oath of office. On behalf of all of the staff, I'd like to congratulate the new council. Things are looking very, very positive and productive for the next 4 years that are before us. And I'll just start with introductions of our three commissioners, starting with Anita Moore, our Commissioner of Corporate Services. So Anita. Peter Nohammer is our Commissioner of Development and Infrastructure Services, and Peter has just joined us recently. Ian McDougall is our Commissioner of Community Services. Ian. And then Todd Kyle from our Newmarket Public Library, the CEO, Todd Kyle. We have Andrew Brower, who you have already met. Andrew is our clerk, but also our Director of Legislative Services. And then we have Paul Ferguson, President of Newmarket Tay Power, President and CEO. Paul Leslie, our Deputy Fire Chief. Our Fire Chief for Centre York could not make it. He is at home convalescing with a knee replacement. So just in terms of this positive 4 years before us, staff are looking forward to working with the council, the new council, to first of all assist you as early as possible in establishing your strategic priorities for the whole term, and beyond that, if there are measures that need to be put in place. In addition to that, then staff look forward to working with you to implement those strategic initiatives, those strategic priorities, and as mentioned, to finish some of the priorities that are currently in place. The theme that I have heard around the table is that we're all really working for the same vision, to make Newmarket well beyond the ordinary and even beyond that. And the mission is important, and that is to make Newmarket even better. So staff are looking forward to working with council to achieve those, the vision and the mission. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to do the Mayor's inaugural address, and I didn't want to be at that podium because I wanted to be in front of my members of the council as well, so we thought we'd try a new approach without having my back to our council. But we gathered tonight to celebrate both individually and collectively, and each member of council can rightfully mark the end of a very successful election campaign with their family and their friends. But more importantly, as a community and as a country, we celebrate democracy. And the tragic events of recent weeks in Ottawa and Quebec have reinforced how privileged we are to live in a free society, and how profoundly grateful we are that brave men and women risk their lives each day to allow us to celebrate as we do tonight. It is an honor for me to stand before you with a renewed mandate to lead the transformation of our community into the future that offers the promise of positive change, growth, and opportunity. And I congratulate my returning colleagues and our two new members of council on their success in this election. To my returning colleagues, I believe that we've laid a very solid foundation for the transformation of our community, to build the new Newmarket, a compassionate community that has its eye on our social balance sheet as much as our financial balance sheet. Our 2010 and 2014 term of office was a time for insight and a time for foresight. Many of the projects that are currently underway are part of a shared vision to renew Newmarket, to build a vibrant, sustainable, healthy community. It was a time when we committed to doing things that looked to the interest of future generations in spite of the short-term challenges that they presented. And among our commitments, we undertook to implement LED lighting to save energy costs and reduce our environmental footprint, to put our municipal buildings, namely our roofs, to work with solar panels to generate income for our community, to strengthen our asset replacement funding, to update our development charges to ensure that we have money to build the infrastructure we need in the future, to consult extensively with our community about the redevelopment of Davis Drive and Yonge Street, and also to understand our community needs in developing our recreational master plan, and that is to name but a few. These initiatives are about protecting and enhancing our natural and cultural heritage, while continuing to manage growth and to sustain our sense of community. They will provide benefits for the decades ahead and the generations that will follow us. 4 years from now, I believe we will look back and realize that this next term of council will also be one of the most important in Newmarket's history. This election just concluded, voters delivered a very clear message. They expect council to focus on the important issues facing our town, to debate those issues fully and vigorously, and to do so professionally and without regard to personalities or personal agendas. And the task for this council, which we eagerly accept, is to build upon the achievements of past councils as we face the challenges that lie ahead. Our residents want their money spent wisely. They want recreational facilities that are accessible, well-managed, and affordable. They want to live in a safe, healthy community which is rich in the arts and culture. They look to our leadership to identify, highlight, and address what the future holds for our community. And in doing so, we will all face challenges and opportunities with difficult decisions to make, and we must always have the best interests of our overall community at heart. Now, in saying this, the reality that our council and our residents must acknowledge is that the Newmarket we know today is changing. Not everyone is comfortable with that. And that message has been made clear to us throughout this election. But it does not mean that we should not embrace change. In the words of the late John F. Kennedy, change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. So our challenge going forward is not just to manage, but to lead Newmarket's inevitable transition so that we're able to be forward-looking, while at the same time remaining mindful of our town's rich heritage and its traditions. And in looking to the future, our town must be well connected to the rest of the world in this digital age. So I am looking forward to the Gigabit Broadband pilot project to explore the ways in which we can bring high-speed internet to Newmarket. Our residents should also be able to live, play, and work locally, and so we'll need to focus on creating a more robust local economy. To achieve this, we must build upon our partnerships with South Lake Regional Health Center, York University, Seneca College, Venture Labs, Newmarket Hydro, IBM, Cisco Systems, Tridel, and our many Chamber of Commerce members through more projects like Create IT, our innovation team, and trade missions to global markets. At the same time, by enhancing our relationships with our neighbors, we will take the Northern Six Municipal Partnership to a new level to achieve even better value for the residents of all of our municipalities. And I know we all agree that everyone should be proud to call Newmarket their home, and so we will continue to deliver exceptional services and maximum value for our taxes. And finally, we all know that by 2051, Newmarket will be required to accommodate an additional 33,000 residents and 32,000 more jobs. And our challenge is to manage this growth to create a vibrant and livable community as our future unfolds. It also means that we need to actively pursue reform in the Planning Act and at the OMB. And I invite everyone to join me in this journey. I am so proud that we are so ably supported by our administrative staff under the leadership of our CAO, Bob Shelton, and Commissioners Anita Moore, Ian McDougall, and our latest addition, Peter Nohammer. This is a team that is committed to providing excellent service to our community with a continuing commitment to making Newmarket even better. We share a determination to do what is right for the people of Newmarket, and the example that is set by our council and our staff is one of hard work and dedication. During the past election campaign, a lot was said about the state of our town. Well, let there be no doubt, I'm extremely proud of Newmarket, our residents, our staff, and our municipal government. And tonight, I pledge that over the next 4 years, our council will work diligently and productively to justify the faith that the voters have placed in us. Together, we will give Newmarket residents every reason to be proud, not just of their town, but of their municipal government. Thank you. Well, members of our new council, we have a bit of business to deal with. You have before you your agenda. There is an addendum to the agenda, and I wonder if we could have a motion to adopt the addendum to the agenda. Councillor Big, Councillor Twinney, all those in favor? That is carried. Now that our declaration, or now that our agenda has been established, are there any declarations? We're back into technology. There, we've all voted. We need to push the buttons. It's something we've had a challenge with. Now that we've determined the new agenda, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? There being none, we'll deal with reports and committees. The only report we have before us is the Corporate Services Report 2014-22, which sets out the preliminary schedule for meetings and the schedule for the acting alternate mayor. And I'll seek a motion to adopt from our two new councillors, if I could. Moved by Councillor Bezans and seconded by Councillor Broom-Plumley. Any discussion? All those in favor? The button. Regional. No, good. Okay. That is carried. Having dealt with the business of the day, a confirmatory bylaw. Councillor Sponga, seconded by Councillor Hempen. All those in favor? Press the... Oh, just a minute. We need to wait for the wait for the button. The interesting thing is that this is more accessible and it does give you a better record. It's just that we need to train ourselves, including myself, even better on this thing. That is passed. Now a motion to adjourn. Councillor Kerwin. And seconded by Councillor Begg. All those in favor? And that is carried. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to enjoy us. Councillor...
I'm enjoying this meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join us for a slight reception following this meeting. Thank you. Yeah, we give these to Edward.